what type of data, it's also important, what type of data we want to assign to each of the columns. So my email column will be a type email. I'm going to call it email, right? Create field. Very nice. And I'm going to create a new column that will be course, right? And that will be probably just a text. You have a text somewhere, kind of write text, a single line of text, right? Which will correspond to the different courses, one of the different courses that I have in my Webflow application. Now, as you can imagine, we already know what courses we have in our application, and you've seen like just before the break, we have actually built like already a bunch of data about these courses, right? So we can imagine that in Airtable, we would like to have like the data about the courses somewhere like stored basically inside our Yann stunning data. So for the courses, what I'm going to do is to add actually a new table, right, from scratch, and I'm going to call it courses, right? In there, I'm going to keep the name, I'm going to remove the status, notes, and signee. And for the name of each of my courses, I'm going to get back the name that I had in Webflow. So the first one was web development. The second one was data science. And the last one was data analytics. Very sweet. Okay. So now I have one place in my data where I have all the courses, and I can, imagine that at the Wagon we have a new course, we can add it very, very easily. And we have one place here with all the students, let's say that's like register for our courses here, right? So since we don't have any students so far, I'm going to add one or two students in here. So in the room, I see that there is Alex, so we're going to add Alex with his email, which is definitely alex@alex.com, right? I see as well Chanisara. So Chanisara, I'm going to add, let's put some capital letters to anyone. Chanisara. And your email is definitely chanisara@chanisara.com. Perfect. So you two are doing some courses. I know that Alex is doing the web development. Chanisara is signed up for the data science. Now, obviously, in courses here, the idea would not be to write every single tab, web dev, web development, or data analytics, right? Here for the courses, what we would like to do is actually connect to our other tab table here that is holding all the courses, so that when we have one more course, we'll be able to select it for the student without having to, add it here, add it there, or like removing one course here and removing it from all the students that are there. So what we would like to do here is to connect actually our students table to our courses table. And for people that have been working with databases, it's something that we do a lot, right? We call it foreign keys. It's a connection. It's a basically one column of our student spreadsheet that will correspond to one element of our courses spreadsheet here. So how does that work exactly in Airtable? Well, for the course, what I'm going to do is edit the field and actually change the data type of my field. Instead of having a single line, right, just some text, what I'm going to do is to link this course column here to another record, to another table. I click to another record. I'm going to connect it to the courses, and I'm going to save it. I don't want to have actually, a student can do like several courses, right? I'm going to save that. Right? And here they're telling me like, hey, what is the data from the courses that you would like to see on the column course? I can select the name so that if I add these fields now, right? If I select a course here, I'll be able to select web development, for example, and I'll be able to see the name web development in here as well. So this column is kind of an additional column compared to this one, right? I think it's needed if you want to like have access to easily to the name of the course from like Alex data, basically. Um, Now, for the use of this workshop, we're not going to go that far. So the idea here is, as you can see, that I can connect at least each of my students to a certain course. Very sweet. So I have a quite complex and well-done data in my Airtable. Now it's time for us to connect this data to actually our website Webflow. So what we're gonna do in order to connect them, we're gonna go back to Webflow, and what we're gonna do is that in our contact page here, we're going to create a contact form, right? That will make everyone that's like send us their information in the contact form being saved here on Airtable. So to do so, first thing I'll need is a form, and actually Webflow is helping us a lot for that. If I search for form here, see that I have a form block. And if I bring it here, and I actually bring it inside the container once again, you see that the basic form of Webflow has a name, an address, and a submit button. It's exactly what I need for my new students. So I'm gonna keep it like this. And if I press preview right now and try to write my name and my email and submit, they're telling me like, okay, the form is there, but first off, it doesn't work just yet in preview mode, and it's not connected to anything just yet, right? So even if we publish the website and try our form, let's open it, you'll see that this submit button here tell me like, hey, you've been submitted correctly, but nothing really much happened from that. Nothing happens because so far, sorry, should close my mailbox here. So far, nothing is connected to this contact form, right? So we'll have to make sure that this contact form is actually connected to our new service, our new external tool that we're using, which is Airtable. Alrighty. So how to do that? So the idea will be to first off to go to Airtable and do some setup for us. So on Airtable, there is a way to connect Airtable to a lot of different tools by using the automation button that you have here on the top. The automation button is basically a way for us to create a kind of a flow that will do from a trigger, from something special that happens, a change inside the data of our Airtable, right? So really the idea would be that when we press submit on our contact form, when the contact form sends a message to Airtable, Airtables from this trigger of like a message that has been received will take the name and the email of that new person and save it in our data. So let's create our first trigger together to create this kind of pipeline between Webflow and Airtable. And it's really going from Webflow to Airtable. So the trigger is something that happens at Webflow site. I'm gonna click on add a trigger here. And what we're gonna select is when webhook receives. So what you need to know is that Airtable is going to be waiting and waiting and waiting for Webflow to send data to it. And Webflow is going to send data to Airtable only when a user is going to press the submit button of the contact form. Airtable, waiting for this message, will be waiting for what we call a webhook, right? That's a message through the internet from one tool to another, where the tool that we're using, Airtable, is actually waiting for the message to come. It's called a webhook. We're going to select that. Right? When we select this webhook received, you see that Airtable is giving us a URL here. The idea is that we're going to give this URL which is kind of the mailbox of Airtable. We're gonna give this URL to Webflow, telling Webflow when a user press submit, you should send a message to this URL so that Airtable receive the data of this user. To do so, to set up this webhook, we are going to click on the main button here of Webflow. And we're going to go to the dashboard of Webflow. From the dashboard, sorry, not the dashboard, I'm going to get back to our stunning site. Sorry, my bad. So it's not the dashboard, the site settings actually. So the settings for this website. We're going to go for app and integrations. In app and integration, if you scroll on the very bottom, you'll see a webhook section here where we can add webhooks. So we're going to add the webhook of Airtable just here. So here is for the URL, right? I'm going to paste the URL that Airtable gave us. And we're going to say that we send a message to this URL to Airtable when, trigger type, when our form is submitted. So I'm going to click on form submission. And I'm going to add the webhook. So now, if we come back to the websites, or website, I'm going to click on my stunning website. And I'm going to publish it. Now, when a user actually writes name and address and click on submit, this message should be sent actually to Airtable, right? For Airtable to do something when the webhook is received. So what I'm going to do is we're going to test it out really. I'm going to refresh my page here to see the new contact us. I'm going to write Yann Klein, my email, and submit the message so that one message has been sent through this webhook already. So the message has been sent to Airtable through the webhook. Now it's time for us to do something when this message arrives. So first thing that we can do actually is to test whether the webhook or the message that I just sent arrived or not. And you see that on the right side at the very bottom, I have a test trigger here that I can click in order to see if a webhook has been received or not. It's taking a while, but now if I scroll down, you'll see that the step is successful. And if I open the data of my webhook, I see that I have inside the webhook a body. Inside the body, I have a payload. Inside the payload, I have a data. And inside the data, finally, I have my name and my email. So we did receive the information from the contact form to our webhook. Now it's time for us to do an action when we receive the data from the contact form. Let's click on Add Advanced Logic or Action. And what we're going to do, very simple, we're going to create a record. See, there's so many things we can do, right? Even sending an email, it's pretty cool. So create a record where on our student table, and we're going to kind of match the fields that we receive from Webflow, from our contact form, with the fields of our data in Airtable. So in choose field, we're going to say that the name in Airtable should correspond to, in the webhook, to what I have in the body, what I have in the payload, what I have in the data, the name Yann Klein that I got from the contact form, as well as the email, right, in my contact form. Sorry, the email of my Airtable should correspond from my contact form, sorry, to in the webhook again the data email this time that is coming from my contact form, right? So this matching has been done correctly, I believe. Time for us to save it. So you can see that here I can generate a preview that is going to create a preview of what the data would look like in my table. I'm not going to go for this. I'm going to right away actually turn this automation on, right, with the on-off button here. Very sweet. And we're going to get back to our data. In the data, as you can see, I do think that like setting up this automation created an empty line here. I'm gonna remove it, right? In the data, I still have just Alex and Chanisara. What I'm going to do is to test whether this contact webhook actually work all together by going to my contact, refreshing the page, pressing Yann Klein and my email and submit. I sent the data in the contact us, and if you check now in the Airtable, you can see that my name is showing up just here. So the webhook and the connection between Webflow and Airtable did work quite well. It's connected. Our data is in Airtable. So I think I see a question in the chat. Oh no, perfect. Nothing special. Don't hesitate if you have questions about Airtable to send them in the chat right now. We're gonna use Airtable once more for another feature that I want to show off. But if you have any question about Airtable, just shoot it. Airtable, the free version of Airtable is quite big. It's giving you a lot of functionalities. You see a trial 14 days here. It's not for the free version, it's for the pro version. So I'm enjoying the pro version for 14 days. Yeah, Airtable is quite a nice service, quite free actually. Okay, if you don't have any question, let's continue with Airtable. Now, the last thing I will want to do is that I would like to connect, not Webflow to Airtable, like not some data from Webflow to Airtable, but rather some data from Airtable, just like, for example, my list of students here, back to Webflow. And on Webflow, what I would like to do, I don't know if it makes so much sense, but I want to do that. I would like to actually, at the bottom of my page here, have a list. So I'm going to go back to design here. On the bottom of my pages here, I would like to have a list of all the students that have registered to the Wagon through the contact us, right? So something like they already registered. So you can see that my title here is not at the right place. I'm gonna bring it out of my collection. Oops, you go out of the collection, please. I'm trying to bring it here and then below the collection. Okay, perfect. And below that, I want to have like the list of all the students that have registered to the Wagon. So it's kind of the opposite thread, the other way around, from Airtable to Webflow. Now, the problem is that Airtable cannot, as is, send data to Webflow. And that's very typical when you're in no code. You have two services that you really love, but they don't communicate to each other. In those kind of cases, you need to use a middle person service that will connect them together. And this middle person service that I want to show off today is very famous. It's called Zapier. Zapier is this one service, no code service, that is actually connecting tons of different service, no code service on the internet. So you can see that the popular connection are like Gmail to Google Spreadsheet, Gmail to Google Docs, Facebook to Spreadsheet, and so on and so forth. And we are going to connect Airtable to Webflow using one of those connections of Zapier that I call DApps. So I'm going to create a new DApp here, which is very similar to the automation that we had before on Airtable, but this time the trigger is going to actually start from Airtable. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to select Airtable as our trigger, tool, and on Airtable. So you see that they already understood, like I already connected to my own Airtable, right? If you use Zapier for the first time, obviously you want to log in, and they will ask you at that very step to connect to the Airtable that you're actually using. So I'm connected to my Airtable. I'm going to select as a new event, like when a new record is created in my student table. And I'm going to select my account. It's already selected here. Pressing continue, they will tell me like, hey, what uh, what data are you interested to connect, or what spreadsheet, I would say, are you interested to connect with on Zapier. I'm going to refresh the results. It should show me. Oh, it doesn't show me the one I just created. Let me get back to here. If I come back to Airtable, I have my base Yann stunning data here. It's really the one I want. Um, I am surprised that it's not showing here. So what I'm going to do is to get back to the first stage, and I'm gonna maybe like try to reconnect to this account here. Okay, let's continue, and let's try to refresh here. Okay, it doesn't look like they are very happy about my base just here. Now, the good news is, I did this like prepare this workshop before, and I was using this reference workshop table, which is very, very similar actually uh, to the one, this one, to the one that we created before, right? So this is the one that we're going to use this time because Zapier seems to be a bit overwhelmed here. So I'm going to refer to this workshop. The table is going to be our students table, right? And I'm going to continue. So I can test this trigger and see if it's working okay. So this trigger basically listen to my table here, and whenever I have a new student showing up here, the trigger, like this process here, gets basically triggered. And you can see that after the test they've done, they show me that they could get two records. The first one is Mia. The second one is Ken, which are my two students here on Airtable. Now that the trigger is doing good, we're going to continue to the next step here, which is the action. This time we're going to have an action on Webflow, right? So this is Webflow. And on Webflow, I'm already connected to my own Webflow because I did it just before. What we're going to do is to create an item, right? We're going to create the item on our website. So here again, they don't want to me to create on the website that we just created. I'm not very sure why they're getting so tricky with us here. This a matter of refreshing things. Maybe if we go for custom, um, yeah, not sure if that is going to help us so much. Static is definitely what we want, but this is not the one. Definitely have a second one here. Very, very interesting. It's very possible that I need to log in and out of the service. Um, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna connect it to this to the websites that I've been building. So this is the website I built to prepare the workshop, so that I can show you like all the different steps. And what we're gonna do is to create an item in the students of this one website, right? Same thing here as before. We need to connect the name of the student to the Airtable name record that we got, the email that we're gonna connect it to, same the email. And for this time, we're gonna like just forget about the course and the slug. I'm gonna continue. We can even like test our Zapier to make sure that it works, right? And we are going to publish it. Okay. When this app is published, obviously, as I used like my reference workshop, I can't really show you that is working perfectly. But be sure that if I send a contact here a new, for example, like Nick contact with Nick at nick.com. This contact is going to be submitted to my, as we said, my Yann stunning data, right? Has some data just that should be coming here, right? And this data is my, if my DAP was working correctly, would actually be saved on my website, and it would look like, here is my reference website. It would look like this, right? This is my data that I prepared for you to prepare the workshop, right? Which should be corresponding to another collection. So as you can see here, I created a new student collection, and I have here all the students that have been actually created through the Contact Us form. Okay, so the last part of the workshop didn't work as I was expecting, but really the idea is that thanks to that, you'll be able to connect your Webflow to Airtable and back and forth, but you'll be able to connect your tool as well to any other tool that you can connect with that. And they're using like you can actually trade on very, very much a lot of tools. As we said, like pretty any tool, any website that you can imagine on the web, right? YouTube, Discord, and so on and so forth can be accessible with that. And that's going to give you so much power on your on the website that you're building without any line of code. So that's everything I wanted to show you. Just to conclude a little bit on this no-code approach, it's really, really cool. It has a lot of pros. So it's easy to use. You can work with people that have no skills about coding. It's going to be great for your life as a product manager or like building a product. It has some cons. It has some limitations. We talked about it. It's costly sometimes. It has limitation in terms of complexity for your websites. It's not always super good to build a quite like it's not good at building quality websites so much. Not so good sometimes in terms of SEO and so on and so forth. But really, it's a very powerful tool to kickstart a business, I do believe. So that's about the workshop part of, the lecture part of the workshop. From that point on, what are we going to do together? I suggest us that we jump onto like the link I sent you at the beginning of the workshop. In this link, so I do believe that you all have access to this page here. You'll see that there's 4 sections. The first section is the lecture, and as I told you, every single thing I showed you today is actually contained here in the lecture parts of this Learn platform. So all my slides are here. You can check them out. There's even a video going like through everything that I've been talking about today. There are takeaways as well as test your knowledge, which is like an area that is kind of summarizing all the knowledge that we've been talking about today. And finally, there is a U-turn part here. So the U-turn part here is a place where you're going to be able to test your knowledge of Webflow, and you're going to be able to design a website. So the website that we are suggesting in this challenge is an e-commerce platform. The idea that you'll be building an e-commerce platform with Webflow. Webflow has a e-commerce feature, and you'll see that they're going to show you how to add this feature as well as connect it to Airtables and to integrate a Webflow form as well in Webflow. So this is a quite cool challenge to feel more comfortable and to try yourself on Webflow. Now, if you want to build the website that you've been designing last week on Webflow instead of this challenge, that's totally fine as well. So you can go either or, but try yourself, use the tool and see how it works. The last thing I would like to share with about this challenge here is that the interface, the e-commerce interface of Webflow has changed a little bit, right? Actually, the whole interface versus what we were explaining in this challenge. I would like to show you where you'll find the e-commerce capability on Webflow. Actually, now it's together with the CMS capability. If you click on this CMS, and I'm gonna do it on the example actually that I built before the challenge, before the workflow, the workshop. Sorry. If I click on CMS here, you can see that there is a e-commerce area. So I think that in your case, if you click, the e-commerce is not on just yet. You need to turn it on, right? And click on let's do this. And it's going to create, see there's a bunch of steps here. You can close them for now, at least. And you'll be able to create a bunch of products automatically or not, right? You can create your own product, or you can create some sample product automatically from this interface. This is going to create for you actually a collection, right? In the e-commerce here, it's going to create a product collection, just like I have in here. Very similar as what we did for the students collection, right? But on the top of this collection, when you go to the design side of Webflow, you'll be able to add some new things. First off, you'll be able to add, if I write cart here, a cart. So I have one here, as well as an add cart button. On top of those two new elements, you also have in the pages some special product template pages that are representing the page, like, the details page of each product in which you'll be able to embed a cart, right? This is the add to cart functionality here that I showed you before. So this is the add to cart, and this is the cart. When this is built and you have a nice page, if you try it, like press preview, you'll be able to add a certain product, add to cart, and you'll see your cart showing up here, and you being able to pay with Apple Pay or continue to check out, which are not working just now because it's kind of like more or less working. But this placeholder will not work because we didn't go through all the setups that you showed, that I showed before when we enabled the e-commerce feature. Okay, just wanted to show you that so that you're not totally lost in this e-commerce part of the challenge. Now, if you have some last questions, I'm gonna look at it in the chat and answer them. And if you don't, we're gonna jump on breakout rooms. A bit on this, I'll be here to help you out if you have any troubles with these challenges.
Hey, Yann, just quickly, before we hop to the breakout room, because
Okay, so mostly making an account. Zapier is such a blessing. Absolutely. Okay. So not much like big questions. I'm gonna let you jump on your breakout rooms. Already quite late.
Yann, can you hear me?
Very sorry for that.
Hello?
I'm going to maybe share my, I don't know what's the best place to do that. Share my contact if you are building your app after this workshop and would like to ask some questions to me or to share it. It's probably something that we would do on Slack, I believe.
Hello?
Yann.
Yann, can you hear us?
Oh,
I think
Aaron, I see you talking, but you might not be. Oh, sorry, it's me. I was muted.
Yes. Yeah, so we were saying I was talking with Otto before we send the students to the breakout room, we wanted them to fill out a quick feedback form. The reason is that some people might drop later. So while we have everyone, we wanted to Otto, hold on, let me see. The feedback form, and I think there's one other thing, right, we wanted to share. So let me share the feedback form to you, everyone. Thank you so much, Yann, as well. Before we go to the breakout, I want to say thank you when everyone's here. And please make sure to fill out this feedback form, guys. And let's take a picture too, just before everyone leaves. So if you can turn on your camera, we always do this, yeah, in every module. We should take a photo with everyone and
Yeah, nice to see everyone's face.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, I think Mika is our designated photographer for the evening.
Yes, so I'm not a host, so I can't see everyone's
Oh,
face
let me make it.
separately.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but it's okay if someone else can take the picture.
Hold on,
Oh, okay.
let me make you. Where's your? Okay, can you
Okay,
see?
I can see everyone now. Lovely. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone had a good session today. So, yeah, without further ado, let's take our picture. So, everyone, can you give me a wonderful smile in three, two, one? Oh, where oh no,
Oh,
it's gone.
oh, shoot.
So sorry. I minimized my screen. Oops. All right. So, three, two, one. Mm. And another one. Three, two, one. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And so you have the feedback form, we have our photo. How about should we ask questions now, Yan? Or, if anyone has any questions, or should we go straight to the breakout room? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, good time to ask for questions. Don't hesitate if anyone
Okay.
has any.
Yeah, guys, if anyone has questions, please make sure to please, feel free to use the microphone. I think it's a lot easier. And maybe while everyone's here, others can also get value from your questions. So please take it away if anyone has any questions.
Instead of using no code websites because they charge me monthly premiums, can't I just take like a template from GitHub and I credit the person who made it? Obviously, I understand that I will require a little bit of know-how, but it's not going to be that complex, right? It's if I just want a template, I just change my names and stuff, and I won't have to pay any monthly premiums to any company. So wouldn't that be better?
I love your question. It's a very good question. So if I understand well your question, the idea is to like host your website, like use a GitHub repository and host your website on GitHub, right?
Yes.
You're absolutely right. It's very possible. Now, the website that you can host on GitHub are static, meaning that by themselves, unless you connect them with all other services, you're not going to be able to have a database, and you're not going to have be able to have a backend as well. So it's possible as long as you're okay with those limitations, I think. You could have imagine to connect them to like Airtable, for example, right? But that might that might need a little bit more coding knowledge to do. But once again, the idea of this no code is for us to to try to do the best with the list of money as well. And every there's no bad solution. There's just what's the word? Trade-offs.
I have one question, if no one else has it. So I'm thinking I want to build a website as well, and that website, in addition to, I know we looked at, getting names and email addresses, but I have an idea for like a Chrome extension, and I want to collect the data, various types of data from the user, like, what website they visited, how long were they on this website, and stuff like that. So for that sort of connectivity, like backend and database structure, would it be much more difficult, or could you also do something like that with a no code or
Yeah, no, absolutely. You could definitely do that with no code as well. I believe that you would connect your Webflow to
Mhm.
an analytics tool. So the very typical one is Google Analytics. Another one that is pretty neat and doing a bit more for you is um, uh, I hope that I'm not mistaken. It's Hotjar.
a jar?
Yeah, have you heard of it? It's
Oh,
quite
Yeah.
amazing of a tool. Yeah.
a jar.
So it does it goes really more into the behavior of
Hot
the
chart.
of Hotjar, sorry, yeah, of your users,
Mhm.
and it enables you, for example, to know it says they're doing a heat map on your website, and they're
Mm.
telling you where the users cursor, like where it clicked, what time it spent here or there. It's really, really well done. So these are the kind of no-code tool you could connect to your Webflow.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Does anyone else have any questions for Yan? It's a good chance if anyone's interested in, becoming a web engineer or engineer of some sort or data analytics, some of the not necessarily product, we can also ask Yan.
Me in the comments, please read.
Oh yeah.
Where is it?
Is it yours, Annie? With no code, I feel like engineers can also design now. So if you were a designer, what coding knowledge would you learn? Um, okay. So as a designer, what knowledge would you learn? That's a good question. So let me just continue via. Right. So Jaden Bayer looks for designer with coding skills. Okay. I still feel lucky to be in Japan. I see. Um, yeah, that's a very good question. I believe that in a web development flow, what you usually do is having a designer making the Figma, right? And this Figma is given to usually the front end developers to actually build the different elements from this Figma, like the front end elements. So I would say that the next step for a designer would be to rather on that side of things, so more front end than back end. And in a first as a first step in the like CSS slash like HTML CSS side of things, I would believe now it's a I guess it's a my feeling. Um, so like my point of view, which is one among many. Yeah, that's my answer so far.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I used to work in a sprint team and I would propose like crazy design ideas. And then the feedback from the engineer is like, are you sure it's compatible with our code? Did you use like Material UI? Are you sure it's like the components are responsive and adaptable to like iOS versus Android? So I
Mhm.
feel like design system, especially, is like if designers can know the logic or framework behind design system, it works. It helps designers to work better with engineer, and also it helps like QA, so quality assurance engineer, when they test the feature. It also helps them to be more efficient as well. I wish I spent more time studying on design systems.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Uh,
Um,
yeah. Thank you so much, Yann. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
uh, yeah, a bit unrelated, but I built an Airtable for you that I'm sending right now
Mhm.
on in the chat. It's kind of a repository of a bunch of like tool that I personally use for like front end related topics. So like tools that are related to icons, images, background, color, some websites for example of design and so on and so forth. It's probably something a lot of resource you got in the last workshop, but I guess that's like never bad to share it. So you can have a look at it. And I use Airtable as well, so it's kind of linked to this workshop, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Also, we'd like to invite you to our end of camp party, which will happen on the 21st of Feb.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mika has sent the link to RSVP, but let me go find it again if it's not there.
It's in the
Okay.
chat.
Yeah,
That's
perfect. It's yeah.
Yeah, if you can
Yeah, I look
all
forward to it.
register for it too, we'll be happy to welcome you there. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Yan. Please let's give a round of applause to Yan before we go to the breakout. Maybe 15 to 20 minutes, guys. I mean, if you can, maybe we'll pop around. Yan, is that okay for you? Maybe 15, 20
Yeah,
minutes?
sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Please. I know I speak too much, so you have extra minutes for free.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, so we have the breakout rooms open. Please let me know, guys, if you can. I think you should be able to join, and then we'll see you in the breakout rooms, and maybe you can ask Yan any questions or, think with your team on how you can apply this to, your website for your prototype or your MVP project. That'd be great. Okay. Okay, so you can head out. I will head. Ado, are you gonna be around, or are you gonna go to?
Yeah. I'll stay a bit.
I go to one of the rooms.